Happy evening, guys. It's Cap. I hope you're all having a great one already. I wanted to talk about a very spicy meatball tonight. A very interesting game story. I think the most interesting game story that we've had all of 2026 so far, and probably for the entire last year, the most interesting game story. That is the tale of High Guard. A very interesting game, very fascinating story for me because I've covered all kinds of games, great games. I've covered horrible failures like Concord. We covered everything in between, and I think that this might be one of the biggest gambles in gaming. So let's get into it because it's I think a fascinating story, and apparently it comes out tomorrow. And I don't think enough people are really talking about this aspect of it, and we'll talk about why. So, we first heard about HighGuard all the way back around a month and a half ago when the Game Awards happened. And good old Jeff Keighley, he decided to put it in the prime position. And, we saw the trailer. Literally the last trailer of the Game Awards. The honor position of the Game Awards. They're like, this is going to be the game of the show is usually what this is supposed to leave you with. It's supposed to be the game that, breaks your mind, has you talking like a week later and stuff. And it ended up being a live service shooter. Kind of the same feel as the Summer Games Fest from a couple of years ago when Concord was first announced. Very much a very similar feel. So, we saw this guy with the most generic Gen Z haircut. We saw some okay shooting. The movement, the shooting looks okay. It looks competent. It looks better than Concord, frankly. But, it didn't really, light the soul on fire. We all just saw this and we're like, people are acting like this is going to be Titanfall 2, Titanfall 3. This is going to be Apex Legends 2, which is how Jeff Keighley, led into this trailer with. And it ended up looking just okay. And we were, as a result of expectations versus the reality, we were all kind of, at the end of the Game Awards being like, what were you doing, Jeff Keighley? What were you doing? And then we found out that Jeff Keighley was not even paid to do this. He put it in to the prime position of the Game Awards, the very last video of the Game Awards, just because he wanted to, essentially. He wasn't paid. People were thinking, oh, wow, $3 million, estimated for the spot, maybe even more because it's the last spot. And, for a single minute of the Game Awards, it's probably around $1 million, which is fine in general, except for the fact that, this game just looked so mid. And we're like, all right, so I guess the marketing team for a HighGuard, they paid a crap ton of money, and the number was 0, actually. Whatever game was going to be at the last slot, it is theorized, just pulled out for whatever reason, and some people think it was GTA 6, and GTA 6 is going through some issues right now. They might delay yet again, so maybe a trailer was not ready for them. Same thing, people were thinking maybe it was it was Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe they had a new trailer and it just wasn't ready by the very end of it. So, things had to happen. That was the thought process. But regardless of what happened there, the actual story was HighGuard was in the slot instead. And, like I said, it kind of looks generic. Not bad, but generic. So, January 26th is tomorrow. And we are right there. But the really interesting thing was that after you look at HighGuard, you look at, the genericness, you look at the level of, the trailer kind of gives you a lot of Concord feel. The entire aspect, the entire way they show the skills of every character and stuff, it really does kind of on purpose remind you of Concord. And that's not a good thing. A lot of people felt the same way. This trailer had, just on IGN, 526,000 views on just IGN, 5,000 likes. I don't have a dislike, ratio added in as an add-on, but, the dislikes were very, very high. And then something fascinating happened. Something absolutely fascinating. You look at their Twitter, you look at all of the other, the HighGuard, official website and everything like that, and there is a radio silence. No one talked about the game, including the developers themselves, for weeks and weeks and weeks. But then it gets even more interesting. Nothing but radio silence, and everyone's wondering what happened to HighGuard. I guess it's all crap. Oh man, and you know, a lot of people are talking about it on various platforms and social media, talking about how this might be Concord 2. It might be a massive failure. Concord 2 was thrown around a lot, and then nothing was said until January 23rd. January 23rd, they finally opened up again. They're like, oh, by the way, reminder, 3 days, and then we saw, the announcement for the showcase, and then if you search HighGuard in, let's just search HighGuard in the Twitter right now, and you will see something absolutely fascinating. In one day, in the span of one day, every single major content creator that has done any kind of content for COD or Apex or shooter games, extraction games, BRs, whatever, every single person started talking about it at the same time. And they all said pretty much the exact same thing. I got the chance to play HighGuard, quote unquote. Not me. I would never be. But, all of them were saying they got the chance to play HighGuard. And they loved it. And they can't talk about it. And you guys are going to go crazy for it tomorrow. You see this quote, you see this type of thing over and over and over again. Every single person that is like, an official Ubisoft content creator, like this guy is right here. He's Corsair, and he has Ubisoft in his bio and all that. So many people have to they're coming out at the exact same time. I got flown out to get my hands on the brand new FPS HighGuard by Wildlight Entertainment early, and you saw this 15,000 times. But the interesting thing is, this might be the correct way to handle the situation. Let's think about it for a moment. So, HighGuard, like I was saying, I just gave the history of what happened with HighGuard. So many people didn't talk about it for so very long. And everyone just talked about it with sheer negativity. Concord 2 looks generic, Gen Z haircut, and honestly, I feel the same way. So I didn't really end up making any videos about it because I just thought it looked fucking boring. I would rather spend my time covering really cool games like Hytale and so on and so forth, which is exactly what I ended up doing. So a lot of people either just didn't talk about it, or they just talked about sheer negativity and mostly apathy. I think the developers HighGuard did not realize that they were going to get such a negative pushback, and once they did, they just put their heads in the sand, and they're just like, you know what? Let's wait it out. Because if you guys remember, these are ex-Apex developers, so they were there at the launch of Apex Legends, and Apex Legends was completely shadow dropped. I think that they're trying to do an exactly similar thing here, and I think this is exactly what's going on. Because they're saying nothing. They've said nothing for, weeks, until the last 3 days. They finally opened their mouth, and then the last one day, every single content creator that, would play a BR, Overwatch type of game like this, all gets flown out the exact same time, and they all have the exact same tweet. I'm just saying, conspiracy maybe, but is it a conspiracy if I'm right? I don't know. I feel like it's not really a conspiracy at that point. I think that might be the way they ended up marketing the game. They decided to just have a deluge at the very, very end, right before the HighGuard Eve. We can call it HighGuard Eve. On HighGuard Eve, every single person has the same tweet saying, the game is better than you think, the shooting's really good, you guys are going to be surprised, try it, it's free, play it tomorrow. They're all saying that at the exact same time. I think that is the marketing strategy. And I think that, like I said, this is the biggest gamble in gaming. I'm pretty sure that this will be either a huge win or a huge L, and there's nothing in between. Because I think this is going to be a very, very interesting situation where players of all types will go into HighGuard tomorrow because of sheer morbid curiosity. I know I will, because there's no cost. It is completely free, and there's been so much negative content made about HighGuard already that everyone even if you think it's going to suck, is going to be like, let's see how bad it is. Is it going to be Concord? Concord had a $40, sorry, I think $60 price tag. It was a money sink. A lot of people, and it was only on PlayStation Store, so a lot of people didn't end up playing Concord. And so Concord died right out of the gate. So this is not going to be Concord. Just straight up. It already cannot be. Because it is free. So everyone's going to be able to actually play it. Everyone's going to actually be able to get their own footage, their own gameplay. We're all going to see how the game feels literally at the exact same time in just a handful of hours. So already better off than Concord in that way. However, everyone is going to be able to make content about it. So if the game is buggy, if the game is not super polished, if the game is, as generic looking as the trailer feels, everyone is going to be memeing on it at the exact same time as well. So really, it's going to be one or the other. Either the game is going to rock and everyone's going to fucking love it, or the game is going to be absolute dog shit and everyone's going to hate it. I think no matter what, though, keep in mind, if you guys look at, let's just say the typical voices, Shroud and I love Shroud, but he's very positive on shooter games. Let's be real. If you look at, people like Shroud and people like Myth and Tim the Tatman and all of the other shooter players, they're all going to say, oh, wow, look at the launch number for HighGuard. It's so good. Guys, no matter what, the launch numbers are going to be high. Everyone is going to play HighGuard tomorrow. Everyone. But the real question is, what will happen in the next week? What will happen in the next month? HighGuard is going to release. It's going to release in like 10 hours, 12 hours. And let's just assume it's going to be okay. People will play it for whatever genuine reason, whether for real or to meme. Why is my auto loop not working? I don't know. YouTube is weird. The gunplay will, the gunplay looks like it's going to feel good. It definitely feels faster than Concord, for example. Concord felt achingly slow. The movement seems like it'll feel good. It's, the guys who made Apex. How the fuck is a game made by the developers of Titanfall and Apex not going to feel good? It's going to feel okay. People are going to feel like at least that part is competent. And, a lot of people are going to at least have fun with the game. Unless the servers are, like, on fire or something, like, absolutely terrible. And then, the real question is, will it be fun? Will it be enticing enough? Will the progression feel interesting enough? And so on and so forth. Will it bring enough to the table that we don't see in the trailer that we will play it next week and the week after and the week after and the week after? That is the real question. That's my prediction. I really do think that at least, tomorrow the launch numbers are going to be high. But I really do want to caution you guys, don't take that to the bank. Don't be like, all right, HighGuard is a success. That is not the metric. Tomorrow, everyone will play HighGuard no matter what. What will really, really be a measure of success is if in a month it's still really good. If people think it's actually, a lot of fun. If the game is, some people are thinking it's more MOBA-like. And so, yeah, maybe it has some MOBA mechanics or something like that that really, brings you in way more than an Overwatch, way more than Marvel Rivals, or whatever the other, I guess Apex itself, which is having major issues, or Rainbow Six Siege, which is having major issues. A lot of the shooters on the market right now are having some absolute major... Dude, even Arc Raiders is having huge issues with cheaters. So the real question is can this capitalize on all of these issues going along with all of the other shooters all at the same time? And can it be competent enough and interesting enough as opposed to just a trailer? Because bad trailers are made all the time. We're not that far away from when Dragon Age the Veilguard had a trailer where it kind of felt like it was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy and this really goofy happy-go-lucky tone and whatever, and everyone had major pushback against the tone. That was a really bad trailer. That trailer was worse than the actual game, and the actual game was like a 2 out of 10 for me. So that's saying something. That trailer was really, really bad. So I really don't know if this is going to be a similar situation or not. I don't know if it's going to be a situation where it ends up being a Concord level failure, where it starts off, on Steam, because it's going to release on Steam and consoles at the same time. On Steam numbers, it's going to be like, 800,000 players or something, people are going to be like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then next week it drops down to 100,000. Week after it drops down to 40,000. Next week it drops down to, 2,000. And then it's dead. We don't know what's going to happen because that happened with Splitgate. That happened with, Lawbreakers. That happened with, many other games. This is a thing we've seen in a lot of other hero shooters, a lot of other, very, even more interesting, less generic games than this. But for whatever reason, and the reasons are varied many, and sometimes with monetization, or sometimes with, the actual balance of the game, or the fact that the game is just frankly way too hard, normal people can't get into it. This game it could go that route, or it could go the route of Arc Raiders, where the game is way better than people thought. The gameplay is actually way smoother. In Arc Raiders' case, it was the aesthetic, it was the survival mechanics, the extraction mechanics, and the fact that a lot of people ended up playing it like a co-op game and having these really interesting viral feeling, and not only just viral in terms of content, but like very interesting moments as a player. And you felt this all the time. You run into a guy and he doesn't shoot you. You make a new friend and you end up like killing bots for the next hour together, extracting several times, getting a bunch of new items, and that kind of good memory sticks with you for so long. You're like, wow, this is actually really fun. And, the sound design for Arc Raiders is another thing that really elevated it. We don't know if this game is going to have some of those. If it does, this game could be a huge success. I honestly don't think it's super likely, but I'm also not saying it's not going to happen. Because, a lot of people were saying Concord 2. When you say Concord 2, that means it's going to be literal, absolute dog shit. I don't think this game looks so bad that it looks like literal, absolute dog shit. Like, Concord did not have any destruction mechanics. Concord did not have, like, transformations where you turn into, like, a dog and, maul someone in the face. Concord didn't have any of that. Concord was infinitely worse than HighGuard. But, in terms of peak numbers to what happens in a month, it could be a similar situation. I just think it's going to be a very interesting story, and I would love to see what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What is your estimation? How do you think the gamble that these developers are doing and have done already? Like, the gamble is done. We're just going to see the end result tomorrow. Do you think it's going to be a success? Do you think it's going to be a massive failure? Do you think it's going to be something in between? Personally, I think it's either going to be a super success or a super failure. I really don't think there's going to be a between, but I do want to hear your thoughts. Because I want to hear what you guys think. I'm not someone who played a lot of Apex. I appreciate Apex. I enjoyed it, but it's not really my kind of game. I played many other shooters. I'm big into Arc Raiders, for example. But like, and so I've seen, I covered Concord, massively and stuff. So I covered like the entire etymology of many of these failures. And I just don't think it's to that level. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you guys liked this discussion, you guys thought it was interesting, if you guys thought I was talking about a little bit of a more unique aspect, because a lot of people either hate the game right now, or they're shills and they think it's going to be the second coming of Jesus Christ, really don't know. I would love to hear real people's thoughts, because that's what I'm trying to give. A real guy's thoughts, someone who is not paid by the game, but is also not a complete hater and wants a good game. I want the game to be great, because if this game is good, competition is good. That means Arc Raiders will be pushed to become better. Marvel Rivals will be pushed to become better. Marathon, which hasn't even come out yet and is coming out in a couple months, will be pushed to become better. So this is only a good thing if this game is good. I would really, really love to, and I love to play new games. So if this game, I'm a big MOBA guy. If this game has MOBA mechanics, which is rumored, I would love to see that, because I enjoy MOBAs. But those are just a myriad of thoughts right now, and that's all we can really have. It's all speculation. I would love to see your speculation. If you guys like this video, thought it was interesting, give it a like, give it a sub to this channel, and share it with your friends. I want to get their thoughts in here as well, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll be playing it live, twitch.tv/Capcorgi. That's where I stream everything live, and I will definitely be giving my open, honest, and not paid thoughts as well tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time, and happy HighGuard Eve, guys, which is really weird to say.